Preparations. Where to eat, where to go sightseeing. Everything you need to know to travel to Japan. I'm going to tell you myself, Naka, from Japan Training Life, and I'm a tour guide in Tokyo. First, regarding flights before traveling, I won't elaborate, as new deals can always arise. Searching on Google Flights, which more or less compiles prices from all over the internet, or Skyscanner, you know? Prices also vary by country. Sometimes you can use VPNs to pretend you live in a cheaper country, and sometimes you can get cheaper prices, because they are cheaper countries. The thing is when to travel. The best seasons are between March and May, spring, then between September and November, December, January, and February. It's quite cold. But well, I'm actually recording this right now in January. It's midwinter, but snow is rare in Tokyo, occurring only once every 2 to 3 years. It's cold, but it's not unbearable. Avoid visiting between June and early September, the summer months. You'll suffer due to the weather. Winter here is very humid. June, although not midsummer, is rainy and extremely humid. It's unpleasant. For accommodations, well, the cheapest option is Hostel World, which is for finding hostels. Then you have Airbnb to look for apartments. If you're coming with a group of friends, Airbnb, renting an apartment will work well for you. Then, hotels. Well, at least I look on Booking. There's a hotel chain that's all over the country called APA Hotels. Remember, hotel standards in Japan are for very small hotels. You'll probably need to put the large suitcase on the bed due to limited hallway floor space. Hostels start at $10, but those are shared rooms with other tourists. Airbnb prices range from $30 to $100 based on size, while hotels average around $50 per person. It could be a little less. To go to Japan as a tourist, most countries don't need a visa, but there are some countries that do need a visa. Search countries that don't need a visa to travel to Japan on Google to find the information you need. For example, the page Japan and More, which is the page of my friend who's helping me make this video. Now, also, keep in mind if you have layovers, like if you're traveling with a layover in the United States, you'll probably need a United States transit visa, and those visas are complicated. You need 3 non-Russian certified vaccines. Without vaccines, a polymerase chain reaction test will be done in the country. But anyway, for more information, I'll leave details about the vaccines in the video description. Bring dollars when traveling, even if you can get yen at home. Dollars are all you need, because the exchange rate here is very good. In fact, you won't have to look too hard to find the best exchange rate. It doesn't really change much, unless it's a dollar exchange vending machine. Those do have a bad exchange rate, but the best exchange rate is at the airport. When you just get out of immigration, to the right or to the left, there's an exchange house that's open from 7 in the morning. And what about cards? Yes, credit cards are accepted in many places, but Japan is a country where cash is used. A lot of cash. And there are many places where you can only pay in cash, so bring cash. If not, you can also withdraw money from ATMs, which are the automatic teller machines in convenience stores. 7-Eleven, Lawson, and all those. Cash can also be withdrawn from those. Just in case, make sure your debit card is enabled for international withdrawals. About Wi-Fi. Well, when you arrive at the airport, you'll have access to the airport's free Wi-Fi. But don't think there's internet everywhere in the country. It's better to come prepared. You can rent a pocket Wi-Fi online, reserve it, and pick it up at the airport. They're devices like these. But honestly, I recommend buying subscriber identity module cards instead. Just make sure your phone is unlocked. Why? Because if you have to carry this, first, you depend on this device and it has a battery. Since it's rented, sometimes the battery isn't in the best condition, and you have to keep recharging it. Therefore, you have to have a mobile charger and the pocket Wi-Fi, and keep recharging both of those plus your phone. The subscriber identity module card. Let's say it's the most convenient. And you might say, oh, but for groups of people, isn't this more convenient? Yes, but what happens? If at any point you get separated and you're not together, one of you will be left without internet. So, if there are 2 people, it's better to have 2 subscriber identity module cards than 1 pocket Wi-Fi. Unless you really need it for work and have to connect it to your laptop, well, in that case, it might work. Wherever you stay, there will likely be Wi-Fi. For your mobile charger, remember that. The current in Japan is 110 volts. But the important thing is the prongs. The prong adapter for the USB, all the power outlets have straight, parallel prongs. Another crucial point is the J-Air Pass. Japan Railways is the largest train line in all of Japan, and it includes the bullet train for long-distance travel. The J-Air Pass is something that is only available for tourists who don't live in Japan. People like me can't buy it, and that's why I'm really envious of all the tourists who can come with the J-Air Pass. Why do they pay for a pass that can be for 7 days, 14, or 21? Obviously, each one has a different price. With that pass, they can ride the entire J-Air line for free, including the bullet train, exactly as I said. With that, they can travel throughout Japan. Now you have to buy the J-Air Pass in your own country, and they will send it to your home by FedEx. If due to time or something else you couldn't buy it, you can buy it in Japan. You can buy it right at the airport, but it's about $30 more expensive. The 7-day pass cost about $300 or $330 if purchased at the airport. You can buy it right at the airport. We already mentioned where to exchange money. At the airport, you can purchase subscriber identity module cards, rent pocket Wi-Fi, or collect pre-ordered items. Next, for when you start traveling. Right at the airport, there's the train station right there. At the J-Air Company counter, you can exchange your J-Air Pass that was sent to your home in your country. There you can activate it or say when you want to activate it. Because maybe you bought the 7-day one, but you want to start using it in 3 days. In 3 days, you'll take the first bullet train. Another thing you need to do is get the SUICA card, which is right there. At the J-Air counter, you can get it. Vending machines at train stations also sell it. They all have an English option, making it quite intuitive. You don't need any instructions at all. It's what you need to travel, to get on the train, to take buses, to use public transportation, anything like that. And there are others like, for example, the Passmo, XK, or Ecoca. What happens is that each region has its own card, but nowadays they work all over the country. Regional limits used to exist, but they are no longer relevant today. This one, let's say, is the most popular. And well, in Tokyo, the Passmo is also used a lot, but they're all the same. You can even link it to your phone's wallet, which is what I do. I can just use my phone to get through. That's great. You can also charge your phone at the ticket vending machines. And what about the stations? Well, that's about it. At the train station, you can take express trains or local trains that take you to downtown Tokyo. Because Narita Airport, which is where most people arrive, is not in Tokyo. However, if Tokyo isn't in the name, it will be difficult to sell tickets to that place. But arriving at Narita Airport in Chiba is quite common. And there are many express trains that go to the central areas of Tokyo, because usually Haneda, which is actually in Tokyo, has much more expensive flights. Now, some facts to make you feel safe. Japan is one of the safest countries in the world, so you can come here and feel that you are in a safe country. You'll notice it right away. Now, about the language issue. Don't worry, you won't be the first person to arrive in the country without even knowing how to say thank you. Here, people, know that there are many tourists who don't speak the language, and speak a little bit of English, but let's say Indian-level English. I mean, the simplest words, single words, the Japanese will more or less understand you, but keep in mind that most Japanese people don't know how to speak English. Very few people speak English, even in areas that serve a lot of tourists. There are many places where they don't speak English well. Rest assured, you'll have easy access to bathrooms throughout your visit as there are bathrooms everywhere. Japan does not have abusive prices for tourists. The only thing where you really need to look for prices is with collectibles. But that's something where you have to compare prices, even for Japanese people themselves. But when it comes to buying clothes and all that, usually there isn't much of a difference. You don't have to say, oh, I'll see if I can find it somewhere else for a better price, because that's not the case here. The mall is very nice and therefore good. There are things that are very expensive, but they're already expensive everywhere. So, don't stress too much about looking for prices. And let's go to the last part of the video. What? The video is already over? No? What happens is that all the rest of the information you need, you're going to handle with Google Maps. Google Maps is going to be the most important app you'll need for your trip in Japan. Why? Besides helping you get around and everything, Google Maps has done an amazing job in recent years. And honestly, you basically don't need apps for traveling beyond Google Maps. In the app itself, You can look for places to eat. You don't need to Google it. I don't know where to find a supermarket, clothing store, electronics store, or anything. You just enter the keywords in Google Maps, for example, electronic stores in Google Maps, and it will give you results. Using English might yield better results. If you use Japanese, the results would be even better, but English is still an improvement. You can easily navigate the app. Just type money exchange and it will appear. Results. If you're vegetarian or vegan, you type vegan restaurant, vegetarian restaurant, or gluten-free restaurant, and you'll get a lot of results. Family restaurants offer a variety of Western food options for those who don't enjoy Japanese cuisine. Ramen. The map will fill up with options. When you find a place, you'll see the opening hours. Google Maps results contain all the details about a place's website, photos, reviews, and information on places to eat and shop. Oh, and details for the food places. Most restaurants have photos on their menus. Not all of them, but many do. At the entrance, you can find photos or plastic samples of their dishes. And don't worry, because in Japan, every place you go to eat is safe. You won't get sick from any food. You might feel unwell simply because your stomach isn't accustomed to that type of food. However, the quality isn't bad. Water is always free. Sometimes water, sometimes tea is provided. And you don't tip, so don't worry about tipping, because there's no tipping culture in Japan. So that's another problem solved. Well, to put it simply, for example, right now we're in the Shinjuku neighborhood and let's say we want to go here, to Sensoji. How do we get there? There are options to get there, such as going by car, public transportation, walking, or bicycle. They provide us with the best options for our convenience. Walk to Shinjuku Station, enter through this entrance. Well, it's almost the same either way. But the important thing is that it tells us more or less what time we can take the train. It even goes as far as to tell us which car is best for us to board. In 7 and 10, why? Because when we make the transfer, the stairs to the exit will be close by. To take the other line, it depends on the station. Sometimes it's very important to know this because stations like Shinjuku are very big. Asakusa Station requires us to exit through the yellow gate 3, which would be the exit number that takes us close to the temple I just marked. It also details all the stations along the way, obviously the platform number, whether it's an express or just a regular local train. I mean, for traveling, Google Maps is a real winner. This works really fast. Oh, and it also shows the price. There's the option for fewer transfers, less walking, wheelchair access, lowest cost. Let's see. And for example, we're here. And here we have the restaurants button, which will give us a lot of options. The closer we zoom in, the more options will appear. Search in this area for coffee shops, ramen, mini markets, like the 7-Elevens, the convenience stores that are everywhere, supermarkets, shopping, and the More button, where you can find a lot of options to search for places. You see that on the map it says Tokyo City. Well, you see this river that's over here and this green space that's in the middle, the big green space. Well, you zoom in, focusing on that, and more or less when the river at the top starts to disappear. Well, this is the main area, the most central area of what is Tokyo. On this side, we have the Taito district, where Asakusa is, which is one of the areas with the best prices and is also a tourist area. It's better priced than in other places. Why is that? What's going on? Here runs the Yamanote line, which is a J-Air line that goes in circles and passes through the main districts. The busiest areas of Tokyo are within this circle where the Yamanote line runs, which is the green one. Therefore, the ideal areas to stay would be around the Yamanote line, wherever you choose to stay. I'll likely say the nearby station and line name, and if it's the J-Air Yamanote line. That's it. It's a great move. Asakusa is slightly cheaper because it's located outside the Yamanote line. Now, if we're talking about the ideal neighborhoods, it would be Shinjuku and Shibuya, because those are the areas with the most activity at night. You can be out all day, and of course, when night comes, when you go back to the hotel. Let's say you can eat in the area and maybe walk around a bit in the area at night. Afterwards. Other neighborhoods that I highly recommend for staying are, for example, the Ueno area, where Ueno train station is, or Akihabara, which are both areas with pretty reasonable prices overall. Ikebukuro is another area known for its vibrant nightlife. Well, and here now, at night it kinda quiets down a bit. Asakusa too, but Asakusa at night has its own particular charm. Here are the ideal neighborhoods to stay in. I'll leave them on the screen if you want to take a screenshot and save it. Then use that list as a reference when looking for accommodation. Now, places to go sightseeing, I'll do the same. I'll put a list of places on the screen. I divided it like this. Now, the words I put on the screen are words you need to enter into Google Maps and save them. To save it, ideally, you select a place and there's a save button. And mark it with a color, for example, green or the red heart. Because, well, the blue one can get mixed up a lot with other blue things. Look at my Google Maps, it's all dots. Yellow, green, and pink. These places that I'm going to show on the screen. Take a screenshot and all these words which are names of train stations, and can you save them? They simply save the train stations, and basically, they can leave the station and get lost, so to speak, in some way. But the thing is, they can walk around the neighborhood itself. Now, the ones I put in parentheses with an X are not train stations, but specific points for saving. Sometimes the nearest train station is not that close, and you have to walk a bit to reach it. And if you go in the opposite direction, you won't find the place. The names marked with an X are places. The rest are train stations. I divided it by places you can visit starting in the morning, such as temple areas and parks. You can go to them 24 hours a day, so if you get up early, you can visit these places in the morning. Then, in the middle, there's a list of places that are meant to be visited during regular business hours. The safe hours when everything will be open are from 12 noon to 8 in the evening. Depending on the location, some places open at 10 or 12, while closing times vary from 8 to 10 or 11. And finally, the areas that are most recommended at night are those with bars, because that's where the bars are and they close late. All the places open later, therefore it's more recommended to go at night. For instance, where we are now in Shinjuku is much livelier at night. Or Koenji, which is great. By the way, if you saw my video about Koenji, the underground neighborhood, I have a friend who specializes in and gives guided tours exclusively of the Koenji neighborhood, which are nighttime tours. It could be the Koenji neighborhood or Shimokitazawa, another nice area that I highly recommend. These are areas where you go out and, since they're all underground shops, you don't know where to go in. My friend can give you an excellent tour. Without him, I wouldn't have made the video because he really knows his stuff. Follow him on Instagram and hire him by sending a message. Now, if you come with J Air Pass, which is the most recommended, places to visit outside of Tokyo? Let's say the recommendations I'm making about places. It's based on taking a trip of about 2 weeks or so. And with a 7-day J Air Pass, which is the minimum. Outside of Tokyo, the most basic and recommended places are Kyoto, Osaka, and since it's on the way, forming a triangle with Osaka, Nara, which is good for a day. Well, it's also on the screen again. I'll provide my recommended places in Kyoto, Osaka, and the single location of Nara. The places are very close to each other. Let's say that side is the most basic part of visiting Japan. The north is more for those who are staying a bit longer in Japan. Let's say about a month in Japan. With a J Air Pass for 2 or 3 weeks, you can travel a bit further north, but let's keep it simple for now. Other places you might want to visit are Tokyo Disneyland, Tokyo Disney Sea, and the Ghibli Museum, which is nearby. These are places where you have to buy tickets online, especially for Ghibli. You have to check months in advance, because tickets for the next month are sold during the current month. Therefore, if it's Ghibli, you have to check well in advance. If you want to explore Osaka, Universal Studios is a great option, especially if you're interested in visiting the Mario section, which is easy to access. It's not that there's a specific entrance for Nintendo World, but you have to get the Fast Pass. From the park. I mean, it's the general entrance, but the thing is, and with that you can access the Nintendo World area. And then, in Nagoya, there's the Ghibli Park. which, just like the museum, you also have to buy tickets for in advance. Doing the math, rounding everything up, accommodation, let's say, $40 a day for 14 days, that's about $560. Then there's food, shopping, and travel expenses. My personal recommendation is to have a good time and not miss anything, so you can afford a few little luxuries. It's to estimate $100 a day, so that's $1,400 if it's 2 weeks, then J Air Pass, my internet. In total, not counting just the flight, you'll need around $2,500. If you can't have that amount, it could be half, $700 instead of $1,400. But then, well, you'll have to look for cheaper food, which won't be a problem. Personally, I like cheap food because it's tasty. In stores with vinyl, the convenience stores that are everywhere. They're open 24/7 and you can eat well there. Now, in the video description, I'm going to leave things you shouldn't do in Japan. Mainly, above all, it's not making too much noise. In case you come in a group. The video discusses fast food options and prices in Japan, providing an overview of what's available to eat there, and a video about Japan's curiosities, which will also be helpful for you. Also, basically, you can travel to Japan for 1 or 2 weeks without the need to hire a tour guide. Now, nothing, because as a tour guide, why are you making this video if it's not good for your business? Because, first of all, I already have a job on another channel. In short, I explained what my decision for the future is. Moreover, the service I provide is very costly. I ensure it's always worth the price, but it's a premium service. And I know there are a lot of people from Argentina, for example, who follow me, and it's very difficult for them to pay for the service. But basically, that's why I wanted to make this video, so that people can travel, and not everyone can pay for a guide service. And it's a country where you can easily get around if you pay attention to videos like this. By the way, I mentioned that the safety in Japan is present throughout the whole country. Except, well, there are a few small exceptions within the Shinjuku neighborhood itself. Well, anyone who offers you any kind of service on the street, don't accept it, just ignore them. And that's it. End of story. That's all. Other than that, nothing happens. I hope this video was helpful. See you next time. Greetings to you, your family, your pet, and your annoying neighbor. Bye. All right, we're going to have a drink.